NFL Week 7 is upon us. We've got 4 primetime games for your viewing pleasure. We've got barking dogs. We've got the Steam Report, like you would see on Sundays with VR. And of course, the deli still has not been condemned. So Marco is going to keep it up and running. 18-11. That is 62% on the season. And then we're going to follow it all up with some best bets up next. Kelly Stewart here, Marco D'Angelo, Gianni the Greek, and we are going to get right into these primetime games. I'm going to go first because I've got Thursday night football. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 5.5-point favorites at Cincinnati, total 42.5. And we all know how much I love those primetime home dogs catching 5.5. But before I get into that, I'm going to tell you about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have won and covered their last 3 games. And hey, I know a lot of respected people who bet the Browns last week. I could not stomach it, but the Steelers dominated again. And that was kind of surprising to me because Steelers have not been a great bet under Mike Tomlin as a favorite. From our friends at the Gold Sheet, when favored by at least 4 points, the Steelers are 13-26-1 against the spread. That is 33.3% since 2017. You know what Tomlin does really well? He owns rookie quarterbacks, but veteran quarterbacks, maybe one's named Joe Flacco. 1 week in for him there in Cincinnati. And hey, he had a respectable effort there on offense. 12 targets for Jamar. 10 of his 12 targets, went to Jamar Chase. 2 of them got on the same page early. And I think that gives us hope to trust the rest of this Bengals offense. I do not trust the Steelers here in this spot. I can only take the 5.5 with the prime time home dog. Give me the Bengals. I know that sounds absolutely wild to say. Just peep Mike Tomlin's Thursday night football record. That's a little homework for you guys there in the comment section. Marco D'Angelo, Sunday night football. The Atlanta Falcons, off a nice win there on Monday night, are a 3.5-point dog headed into San Francisco, and the total is 45.5.
Yeah, Kelly, no team's been hit harder with injuries than the 49ers have been this year. And now they lose heart and soul on the defense. Fred Warner last week, that is a big blow to the defense. But, even with that, and he went out early in the game, San Francisco played well enough to win last week. If it wasn't for a couple costly turnovers and just an amazing Baker Mayfield. And I enjoyed that game because that was my 5% last week at Tampa Bay coming home, but it wasn't easy for him. Mac Jones has played well. Last 3 games, he's thrown for 306, 333, and 296. He's getting the job done. In Atlanta, well, plain and simple, they're in a horrible scheduling spot. They played a rare Monday night football game. Even rarer, it was a home Monday night football game, and they were hosting one of the powerhouses in the AFC, and they beat the Buffalo Bills outright. Does this scenario sound familiar? Just 2 weeks ago, didn't Jacksonville do the same thing on Monday Night Football? They upset the Chiefs. What happened to them? Yeah, they laid an egg the very next week against Seattle. A game that we were on right here on the show with Seattle. Well, you know what? It ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going against Atlanta off of their big win on Monday Night Football. Now they've got to travel cross country on a short week. Totally bad scheduling spot. You've got a young quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. coming off a big win and traveling on the road. This 49er team, one thing you can always say about them, they always show up. Doesn't matter who gets hurt, it's next man up. We saw what they did on that Thursday night game against the Rams. And part of last week's handicap for me of going against the 49ers was because of that Thursday night win. That was a big win for them, and they were playing a second week in a row on the road. Now they're back at home. Let's go with the 49ers. I got them winning this one 27-20. Take 49ers, lay the points on Sunday night.
Okay, we have another doubleheader on Monday Night Football. VR Tampa headed to Detroit as a 4.5-point underdog, total 52.5.
Gotta look to the favorite here. Detroit line's moving in their direction, and I agree with the move. Bottom line, they're coming off a tough loss at Kansas City, losing that game by almost 2 touchdowns. I think they bounce back here. What's it called? When I look real quickly, when I look at Detroit, they're the best team in the NFL, power rating wise right now. Perfect example of a team right coming off of a high profile primetime game, being almost embarrassed, and now prime time once again, but this time at home where they have a strong home field advantage. They've been dominant there. If you look at their point differential splits between what they've done at home and what they've done on the road. Flip side of that, it's the perfect storm. You look at Tampa Bay, they're a 3-0 road team right now in the NFL. Very difficult to do, win on the road in the NFL. Well, they're perfect there, but if you look at their point differential on the road, it's 7. So 3 coin flip games that they got the best of. That luck runs out. Very hard to keep winning those 1-score games. A lot of luck has to go your way. And as good as Baker Mayfield appears to be playing, the bottom line is he's still below league average in passing success rate. On the flip side, I have Goff, who's number 2, sitting at passing success rate. Again, we knew Detroit wasn't going to coast through this year like they have the last few seasons because of the disruption. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But they are still the number 1 team in the NFL, number 1 power-rated team in the NFL. They're the number 1 offense in the NFL. They've already played a top 10 schedule, and I think it's a good spot for them to bounce back at home, prime time, shake that loss off, and they have a bye coming up the following week, so it sets up perfectly. You want to head into that bye off a win. You're going to get a motivated Detroit team against a little overvalued Tampa Bay team. Lay the points. Anything less than a touchdown, Detroit's the right side.
All right. Not a Baker believer VR, and I kind of don't blame him. That one looks a little tricky. Another one that I think is a little interesting here. Houston is a 3.5-point underdog at Seattle. Low total here, 40.5. And the reason why I say it looks tricky is because after starting 0-3, the Texans have gotten healthier, right? They've got back-to-back wins, except those teams are the Titans and a decimated Ravens team. Seattle, on the other hand, picked up another nice road win at Jacksonville. And while they seem to be better on the road than they are at home, they still are 4-1 straight up and against the spread this season. And that lone loss versus Tampa Bay probably, arguably, could have went either way. And that was the weird week for them defensively. What did they do last week in Jacksonville? They finished with a plus 2.4 yards per play differential, and Trevor Lawrence was sacked 7 times. Sam Darnold, hand up, probably owe you an apology. He has only thrown 1 interception in his last 4 games. And guess what? Sits in the top 3 in the league in passing yards, yards per attempt, passer rating, and QBR. Who would have guessed that? Now, the one thing that isn't going for Seattle is they're returning from a cross-country road trip being played late on a Monday night there. That's the good news. They have that extra day of rest to get healthy. So don't buy into too much of that travel fatigue. Seattle with 5 straight Monday night football wins, and I think they make this one 6. You guys are looking to watch Bet on It early. You guys can join the WagerTalk Insiders, wt.buzz/insiders. You guys are going to get early access, not only Bet on It, the Deli, TNA. Of course, you guys are going to get access to the steam room, and we're going to start working on more things for our loyal viewers right now. $2.99 a month to become a WagerTalk Insider. You also are going to get access on occasion to VR Steam Room. And that's what this segment is. It is a look into what the wise guys are playing early on in the week. And then we will talk about it more on Sunday with him and Ariel Epstein.
And what you want to make sure you're paying attention to when it comes to the NFL line moves is what was the look ahead. Because right now you can already bet the games 2 weeks from now, not this Sunday's games, the following games. and they're already getting some action. And the key is there follow through after that, or is it just taking advantage of the look ahead? Here's some of the NFL for you. Start off with the Thursday night game. Pittsburgh Steelers, they laid 3.5, laid 4, and 4.5 on the Steelers. Move into Sunday's action. London game, under money right away. The look ahead was 46.5, went to 46. They hit that under, hit under 45.5 as well. We saw follow through with Kansas City. Open 10.5 was the look ahead. They laid it, then laid 11 as well. Also, the Patriots opened the look ahead at 6. That got some money. And then at 6.5, they got hit as well. That's why you're looking at them at that key number right now. 463, Carolina at a pick 'em. That was it. Just the look ahead got bet. And then the under 43 and 42.5. And finally, Monday Night Football, Detroit look ahead at -4.5, then got hit at -5 when it opened. And Seattle, the look ahead at -3, even money got hit, but nothing since then. Little early in the week yet for NFL, but that's what we got so far. And like Kelly said, last call on Sunday, steam rooms as well. We'll up to date, up to the minute information heading your way.
All right, let's get into those barking dogs and just bring in the comments now. I can hear it. Marco and I have the smallest barking dogs. It is what it is. Listen, this is a crappy NFL week. It just is. And we're going to own it. So go ahead, say what you want to say in the comments. Marco, tell me why you like the Jets.
Yeah, you got to hold your nose with this one, but we're going to look at it, and it's more going against Carolina. Carolina took advantage of a poor Dallas defense last week, who was playing their second of back-to-back road games, which happened to follow that big Monday night, or Sunday night, I should say, game that they had against the Green Bay Packers. It was just the right spot last week to go against Dallas and take Carolina. Now, the Jets do have to return from London. They played last week. It was an ugly game for them. Normally, I would look to fade a team in a travel spot like this because usually the teams that play overseas get their bye week the following week, but that's not the case here. And we've got a winless Jets team. When you're a winless team, the pressure is on you to try to get that first win, so you're not going to take any weeks off. So I know the Jets are going to show up. That sometimes is a problem because the team that shows up is not very good. But we've got to play the spot here. In Carolina, I just don't trust them defensively. And I know the Jets have had their problems, and the problems have come from one Justin Fields. Last week, I mean, he set the football world back decades. That was probably one of the worst quarterback performances you've seen. He actually finished the game with negative net passing yards. I don't know that, and I've been doing this a long time. I don't know that I can remember that ever happening, but he did it last week. I expect him to have a better game this week. You can't have a worse game, that's for sure. Jets get their first win in this one. Again, sometimes you just got to trust the process, and the process in this one is that we're going against Carolina. There's no world that Carolina should be a road favorite in, even against the bad Jets. We're going to go ahead and take the Jets, get their first win of the season. So it's only +1.5. So definitely money line sprinkle there as well, because we know in the NFL, Kelly, games never fall at one.
Never.
Saying that sarcastically.
Unless you are the Chicago Bears and you do it in back-to-back games. VR, let's just talk about it. This is kind of a crazy one. I know I'm not going to lay points with Mike Vrabel on the road, but should people looking to take the Patriots in Survivor be extra careful this week?
Absolutely. I don't care. Wise guys, schmize guys. I know they're on New England, and it doesn't bother me one bit, because now I'm getting a touchdown thanks to them laying that 6 on New England. And that's a little bit too many points to give this Tennessee team. Listen, I know Tennessee's arguably the worst team in the NFL, but they should be the worst team in the NFL because they've had the toughest schedule in all of the NFL. Number one, toughest schedule so far this year has been Tennessee. The 30th toughest schedule has been the New England Patriots. They've had a really easy go of it so far. So not surprising, they're sitting at +30 in point differential, 4-2, top of their division. Easy schedule so far. You're looking at Drake May, third right now in passing efficiency. He's the number 3 pick in the 2024 draft. I get it. He's expected to be a stud, but he's not a top 5 passing efficiency guy just yet. That number will start to regress towards the mean, rest assured. His passing efficiency success rate will not end up better than Stafford, Mahomes, Love, Darnold, Jackson, Jones, Allen. He's all above them right now. That's not going to continue. It's because they've had the 30th easiest schedule. I like Tennessee catching a lot of points at home. Again, they've had going to keep repeating it, the toughest schedule. So they've looked bad. It'll get easier for them. Again, May could only regress towards the mean. As bad as Tennessee has looked, they can only progress towards the mean, I think, as the schedule gets a little bit easier. Give me the touchdown, fade the wise guys, sprinkle the money line. Don't be surprised if New England gets the loss. All this Vrabel returning nonsense, that's adding an extra pointer and a half at least. So give me Tennessee, worst team.
All right. The Titans. Oh boy. I mean, listen, for a survivor perspective, I hope that happens because I would not be caught dead using the Patriots this week, but I have a feeling a lot of people are going to do it. And I also shouldn't be using a dog this small. And in fairness, they were plus 2.5 yesterday when I put them in the script. And it's not my fault they're getting money because the wrong team is favored here per our Philly producer, Dan Alexander. Look, the Eagles are kind of in a free fall. And they always say, don't try to catch a falling knife. But I think that's what Eagles backers are going to try to do here. You have back-to-back losses against the Broncos and an ugly loss to divisional rival on Thursday night to the Giants. And those bad vibes are kind of lingering a little bit longer than I think fans in Philly would like. I have questions. How hurt is Saquon Barkley? Speaking of hurt, Jalen Hurts cannot get on the same page with his receivers. You want to lay points with him on the road? Eagles 7-14 against the spread following a loss. 1 loss became 2 with the Broncos. 2 losses are going to become 3. Minnesota is coming off their bye week after they just spent 2 weeks in London. Number 2 in EPA per play allowed. Number 6 in defensive success rate. Number 1 in passing EPA allowed. I know VR just made fun of the narrative in Tennessee, but Carson Wentz versus his former team, anyone? Give me the Vikings and teasers. Give me the plus 1.5 and give me the plus 115 on the money line. I like the Minnesota Vikings. And again, if you're not happy with our barking dog selection, just tell us in the comment section. We would love to hear from you guys. And maybe next week we can at least find some field goal underdogs. There just isn't a lot. And I also try to break things up, guys, because I don't want to be redundant in games. And VR's best bet is a barking dog that I like. And there's some other things kind of in that mix that we're going to save for later on in the show. But one of the things we're going to get to right now is the deli. 18-11, Marco. I'm not condemning you yet, even though some of these sandwiches have been a little hard to stomach.
Yum.
Well, Kelly, as I said off air, you're just a little bit too bougie sometimes. You got all right. Fair so point. The sandwiches have been getting the money, and we're going to continue to do that. And if you like this segment of Bet On It, we got an extended version of it. It comes out on Thursday. Marco's Deli. Tune in. I will give you at least 5 games. And we give you games that just miss being on this show because I only give you 1 on here in this segment. And as Kelly mentioned, we are 18-11 on the season with all of the plays and 6 weeks, 6 episodes of the show, 4 winning weeks, 1 losing week, and 1 2 in 1 week. And that push that we had last week was Missouri against Alabama, and we used +3 on the show. It was on the weekend 3.5, so I'm sure a lot of you guys won that, but we are calling it what we put it out at, a push. So let's get into this week's, and we got a tasty sandwich, and I know that our producer loves these sandwiches, and I'm going to ask you guys a question at the end of the show, and we'll see what the producer says. But this is a classic sandwich spot, and we're going to tell you the sandwich right out the bat. It is a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, and you'll see where I'm going very quickly. Last Thursday night, Jackson Dart and the New York Giants upset the defending Super Bowl champs, division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. And they didn't just upset them. They put a beat down on them, 34-17, and I don't even think it was that close. Having a rookie QB get a big win in his first nationally televised standalone game like that, and then ask them to travel across country, that is enough to line me up to fade the Giants this week. But we've got more. You've got the Giants feeling fat and sassy after their big win. You've got Denver coming off one of the ugliest wins you're going to ever see last week against the Jets. Who's going to want to lay points with them? But look at the New York Giants. Who do they play next week? That can't be right. They just played them last week. Yeah, that's right. They play the Philadelphia Eagles again. Talk about a sandwich spot. Philly cheesesteak style, baby. I'm taking Denver here. And how many times have you I've told you, when a good team has a off game, just escapes with a win, gets that scare, you're going to see their best effort the next week. Well, that's definitely Denver. Check that box. Also, that was a horrible spot for Denver last week. That's why we liked the under. That's why, the Jets were a live play, even though it was ugly to get there. They got there. The Denver was playing their fourth road game in 6 weeks. And talk about road games. You don't get any farther than traveling to London for a road game. It was a horrible spot for them. Now they're back at home. They're going to get the job done. And as far as Jackson Dart goes, this is a rookie quarterback. Do you think Sean Payton's going to have a game plan ready for him this week? We know what veteran coaches do against rookie quarterbacks. It's going to be a lot tougher this week. He's not facing an easy defense this week. He's going to face an elite Denver defense. I think it's going to be a long day for the Giants. I'm taking Denver. I am laying the points. We're calling it Denver 31-17. It is a Philly cheesesteak. And here's the question for the viewers. I want the answer in the comments from you guys. Are you team whiz or team no whiz on your Philly cheesesteak?
You might want to elaborate on that, because I think you might get a little confusion in the comment section, Marco, for those not from Philly.
Well, for the Philly cheese. Well, we got a guy from Philly right in the middle of the screen.
You want him to come on? It is 9:30 in the morning in West Coast, and I guarantee he looks like a bear that just crawled out of the woods from winter.
Why do you think I leave the camera off? I leave the camera off for that exact reason. Cheese whiz is we give it to the tourists, Marco. We like Cooper Sharp in Philadelphia. Cooper Sharp cheese. Or if you want to be an Italian, shout out to Marco. You do a little provolone. But the whiz.
I miss provolone. I think that's what you brought me the morning I was severely hungover before
I saved Kelly's life with a cheesesteak. That actually is a true story.
It was rough. Dan saved
VR's a Philly boy too. Philly, which way are you, VR?
It depends where you're at. I'm telling you, if you're down at the tourist spots like Pat's or Gino's, you got to have cheese whiz on it. You have to. But if you're at a regular steak shop, then you go with the cheddar or something along those lines for sure. But if you're going to go to Pat's, Gino's, those kind of places, you got to get it authentic the way they do it. I think it's good. It's nothing you want to make at home with cheese whiz, but if you're out there doing it, you got to eat it like that, I think.
All right. Learn something new every single day. And hopefully you guys are going to learn something new in our best bet segment. But first, I wanted to remind you guys, we got a ton of specials going up right now over at WagerTalk.com. My personal favorite is the Flex Picks. Why? Because it gives you the ultimate flexibility to get the picks from the experts that you want every single day. You just go on, you choose your handicapper for that day before the picks get released. And then you can say, hey, Marco's done really great on Saturdays. I'm going to go ahead and schedule him. I want all of VR's NFL for Sunday and Monday. Schedule him there. And of course, you can skip days at your convenience. Right now, 30 days, $249. That's $50 off for Flex Picks. VR, let's get into your best bet for NFL Week 7.
Let's do it. Now, on Monday Night Football, I had the Chicago Bears as a 5% big move and urged bettors to sprinkle a little something on that money line like we always do on some of our dogs. But this is a bad spot for the Chicago Bears. You have a lot of recency bias coming off that Monday night win. This is a team that's now won 3 straight games, covered 3 straight games. So they've outperformed the betting market. And more importantly, they've done so as underdogs. That role's now flipped. They're now the favorite. In fact, they're a significant favorite. And this is a team with no home field advantage, at least based on this year, right? They're playing better on the road than they're playing at home. Your home field advantage should come if your point differential is a lot better at home than it is on the road. That's not the case here. So the inflated price is based on nothing more than recency bias of what we've seen the last week or two. With that said, factor in Caleb Williams down at the bottom in passing success rate. In fact, he's 29th in the NFL right now going into this week, where Rattler, he's right behind that league average, continuing to improve. I think the Saints team's being overlooked here. I think they're catching more points than they should. And I think this is a very, very winnable game for New Orleans. Again, I think that if they could run the football successfully, which they've been able to do, you got a workhorse in Kamara back there, and they can keep the Chicago offense off the field and sustain a couple drives, they're going to be right in there to win this game at the end. That's why the money line is going to be live. But against this defense, barely top 20, that back door is going to be open the entire 60 minutes. Take the New Orleans Saints. The points are a gift. Sprinkle that money line as well.
Yeah, Marco and I talked about this off air. We also like the New Orleans Saints, a team that Marco's on. I can't help but agree. I've been on the Colts all season long, Marco. But before you tell us why you like the Chargers, please tell me what you've got going on over at WagerTalk.com.
Well, Kelly, we got a special going. It's an end of the year special. It's the rest of 2025. There's 10 weeks, a little more than 10 weeks left in the calendar year. And, you know, if you bought my plays on a weekly basis, a week costs $99, you'd spend $990. But if you take advantage of this offer, you're going to get every play, every sport, the rest of 2025 for just $449. NBA starts next Tuesday. Hockey started last Tuesday. We're number one in both of those sports over the last few years. You look at the NBA since 2020, number one at WagerTalk. The hockey since 2021, number one at WagerTalk. You'll get all of those. You'll get our winning football plays as well. College basketball is just around the corner as well, too. So grab that rest of season. We hit a 5% again last week. Got another one coming up this weekend. Get on board, no better time. And Kelly, yes, you're right. The Indianapolis Colts have been the surprise of the season. But if you tuned into our preseason previews, all three of us were very high on the Indianapolis Colts this year coming in. So it's not a surprise to us. But I'm going to jump off that gravy train this week that has been the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to look at the Chargers. I think this is a bad spot for Indianapolis. And to be fair, you know, they have had their wins, but let's be honest. They've played Miami, they've played Tennessee, and they've played the Raiders. Those are three teams that are playing very bad this season. And then they also beat a banged-up Arizona team. The only good team that Indianapolis did beat was Denver. And if you remember that game, Denver had the game won. Indianapolis was lining up for a very long field goal. They missed it. Game over. Oh, wait, there was a yellow flag on the field. They got that was the infamous leverage penalty, and they got 15-yard penalty, moved it closer, and guess what? They kicked the game winner at the gun with a second chance. So, yes, Indianapolis is playing good, but, you know, the record is a little bit better than maybe it really should be given the schedule that they've played and some of the breaks. The Chargers, they were lucky to escape last week, but give them credit. They didn't play well, and they found a way to win. And they were really in a bad spot. That was their sixth game of the season. It was the fourth time they were on the road. And if you remember, this team, with all the road trips that they made, they went to Brazil the first game of the season. And then what made last week's game tough for them is they played on the East Coast 3 weeks ago, came home, played a game. then went back out on the road to the East Coast to Miami. That's a horrible scheduling spot for a West Coast team to make that East Coast trip twice in 3 weeks going cross country. It's better if they would have played it back-to-back weeks, because then at least teams sometimes stay on the East Coast to reduce the travel. Now they're back at home. You're going to see a good effort out of them. I like them here. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Expect the performance from the Chargers more like what we saw in the first 3 weeks of the season than what we saw in the last 3. Take the Chargers 24-16 over the Colts.
All right. And another small underdog for me. Could have went back and forth on this one being a barking dog, because I think they are barking. But again, you guys are going to tell me in the comment section what a jackass I am, because I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys, who are 6-2 straight up, 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 meetings, versus the Washington Football Commies. The Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin is still questionable, so keep an eye. After he's missed 3 games with a quad injury as of Wednesday, don't know. Also don't know about CeeDee Lamb with his ankle injury from week 3. Hopefully both go, because I think this is going to be a really fun game. I know a lot of people that like the over here, but I like the Cowboys, number 3 team in scoring 29.7 points per game. And I don't know if it's a surprise that Dallas has great offensive numbers, or if it's that Dak Prescott is finally healthy this late into the season. I think he's been playing at near MVP levels. Yes, I said it. Everybody else wants to talk about Baker Mayfield, but Dak Prescott is getting no love here, especially against a Commanders defense that is shaky at best and just got dominated by Caleb Williams and the Bears on Monday night. I like Dallas plus 1.5, Dallas in teasers, and of course, Dallas plus 115 is probably worth a play as well, because like Marco says, games don't land 1. And if this one does land 1, fine. We're going to get the teaser and we're going to get the plus 1.5. Let's bring back in Marco and VR to thank you guys each and every week for hanging out with us here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. I know we keep asking for comments, and that's because we need them. We also need likes, and hit that subscribe button from you guys. It does wonders for our channel, and we are here for you each and every NFL week, all the way to Super Bowl. So make sure you guys give Marco a follow at Marco in Vegas. Make sure you guys give Gianni a follow at Greek_Gambler. I'm Kelly in Vegas. Until next week. Oh, wait, you guys need to know where the college football show is. Don't worry, it's right here. Mega show is going to be right here. Until next week, let's bet on it.